Look at this thing. What a beautiful piece of art. But I can tell you, mating this thing with the barrel housing attached to the engine can be a pain in the ass. I tell you why, and I'm sure this will help a lot of people out there too when they're gonna put a new clutch in, uh, especially with a twin disc or a triple disc. You will run into similar issue 9 out of 10. If you get lucky, the 1 out of 10 you get to slip right in, but the other 9 out of 10 likely it won't go in. So a couple nights ago, I spent freaking 3 hours from midnight to 3 a.m. wrestling with this damn transmission, do everything freaking thing I could to, even with this damn transmission jack, to help a lot. This thing is a beast. It weighs like 150 pounds. So I've been wrestling with it for 3 hours, killing my back, breaking sweat, and I finally give up because it's like 3 a.m. in the morning. So I did a quick research, and I found out that like a lot of people have this similar issue if you're running a twin disc or a triple disc, because the input shaft have to go through 2 discs or 3 discs if you have triple disc. So if you have a single disc, it's not much a problem because you can just pretty much slide in. The problem is the alignment tool that they give you. This plastic piece of junk. As you can see, if you can see, the damn phone don't focus. The teeth on here, or the spline on here, are like very tiny and very sharp. So when you align the disc, even though you slide all the way in, all the way to the input shaft, going through 2 discs or 3 discs, it fit. You can pull it out and in, no problem. But the problem is, this thing have so much like tolerant, so much play. Even though you get it aligned into like 2 discs or 3 discs, but the input shaft on the transmission, the spline are not this small. It's much thicker, much bigger. So if you're doing a clutch job and you're gonna run a twin disc or triple disc, I would highly recommend getting a quartermaster steel input shaft for the LS, because the metal one is the exact size, exact make of the transmission input shaft. So when you align that with that tool in there to go into 2 discs or 3 discs, it'll be very precise because it have almost like zero tolerant, so I have that problem. So I ended up going online and bought the tool, but the tool is not gonna get here for another 2 days. Then so I read online that what people does is they use the transmission input shaft as an alignment tool. So since I have this transmission jack, it's easy for me to get it to the same height as the engine. Then what I did was unbolt the pressure plate, all of it, get it loose, get the disc to be loose and have some play on it. Then I went to 1 disc, then make adjustment for the second one, slide back and forth to get it going and through. Then once the whole input shaft went all the way to the back of the transmission into the pilot bearing. So that is going to be aligned. So after that, I'm just going to tighten some of the bolt lightly on the pressure plate just to hold the disc in. I didn't torque it to spec. I just basically tightened it down just enough to get the pressure plate to compress and the discs stay in place. Then I back the transmission out. Then I torque everything to spec. Then made it up again. This sucker just lie in. I have about once they start to go into the bell housing, I have about a little bit more than a 1/4 inch. As big as this again, a little line here gap. Simply because it's so hard to get the dowel pin here. This side on this side and on the other side to kind of like align and go through. Because like if you go in like a slightly up angle, that thing won't go in. So what I did was unbolt all the bell housing to the transmission bolt, get it kind of loose so I can have some little wiggle room. I was able to kind of like, once I did that, the bell housing just kind of back up on its own and just go into the transmission. Then from there, I just slowly torque one by one like stalk cross pattern and back bell housing to the engine, and everything is fitted. So that's the issue with twin disc or triple disc. If you guys are running triple or twin disc, definitely invest in a tool. I don't know, I'm going to keep the tool. I'm probably going to return it, but yeah, I'm probably going to return it because who knows how long when I'll be getting another clutch or do another transmission, LS transmission, so there's no need for it. And with Amazon, you can return anything. So don't use this junk. Pretty much that go with every car, not just the LS. This the plastic alignment tool is junk. If you ask any mechanic, they have a metal piece to align the clutch because they know this is shit. So everything is on. So one thing to check once you get everything together, since I'm running a hydraulic throwout bearing, so what I did is I have to measure, because like I have an open hole down here to inspect the clutch and all the stuff, so just make something that's thick enough as the air gap thick enough, just like so. I used basically 2 zip tie with some tape, take some measurement of it, and the air gap clearance is just about this thick, and so I slide in right onto the finger, between the throwout bearing and the finger. I want to see how much gap do I have. Like I don't want it too tight and I don't want it too big, and so I was almost on point. So that is perfect. It's not hitting the finger. I was able to slide this thing with effortless basically, so I didn't hit anything. So it's perfect air gap for the throwout bearing. So and plus I didn't want to get the line mixed up, because once they go in there, it's hard to tell which end is which end. So I already put a bleeder on this end. So this is going to be the bleeder, and this is going to run to the master cylinder, so I don't get it mixed up. So about the transmission, that's about it. And one other thing, I figure out how to run the wire on this thing is basically there's a wire kit, there's a wire harness they made by Bowler. Let me see if I can find that shit. Yeah, Bowler. So this is a transmission. It's called Bauer all-in-one. What I have is a Magnum T56 RLM. So this is they have like 3 different versions of it. So you have to make sure that you get the right one for your transmission. So basically this thing does all the work with just a few wire. You plug everything in there. It have, it take all the guesswork from, if you want to run like, reverse light, there's wire to run your reverse light, your speedometer, the thing I got this for mainly is for the lockout, the reverse lockout. This thing is quite expensive, to be honest. I think it's almost $400 for just this wire harness. But the cool thing is they have this this thing right here is Bluetooth. So you can connect it to the laptop and you can adjust your speed. Basically at what speed you want the reverse to be locked and what speed to be unlocked. Most people will set it like around 4 or 5 miles per hour. So with this thing, your reverse safety lockout shouldn't be need to be modified or anything like that. Basically, it take all the guesswork out, everything, and I'm gonna be able to go in reverse with no problem. And this also is a reverse lockout. So a lot of people, what they do is they open this, cut the pressure spring that's like lock the reverse, make it shorter so it's softer, so it's easier to get in reverse. But I don't want to modify anything, and safety is priority, So this thing in the long run is worth every penny. So if you guys doing a swap and you have problem with reverse lockout and all that stuff, get this. So yeah, that's the one thing. So another thing you might want to think about is see this 2 guy. They look identical down to every single bit, every freaking corner. Like turn this upside down, whatever. They all look the same. But only one of these would fit on here. So this is, I'm piecing piece and bit together. So it's really hard for me to base on what car part I need. So when it comes to starter, like I don't know which starter will work. So when I search for a starter, I try to buy one that have a high rate, like good review, good rating. People say many of the starter are universal. They fit pretty much like into almost every car. So I was like looking on Amazon, and I found this guy. It's a genuine GM part. The part number is 126172229. It's a very good review and everything. So I bought that one. Went home, tried to put it on. It wouldn't fit. It wouldn't go in. It just wouldn't fit. It just wouldn't go in. So I have to backtrack and see like what the hell going on. So I remember like most of the bell housing are universal, but so I bought this for so long ago. I don't remember what it made for. So I kind of like look at my history, and this bell housing is made for a Camaro and GTO, GTO LS1, LS2, like early Camaro, like Catfish Camaro, and GTO 04 to 06, LS1, LS2. So, I build this engine. I try to build everything, every piece and part, sensor. I'm trying to get. I have to base on a car, so I base on an LS1. So pretty much all the sensor on here, I try to base on an LS1. So the same thing with bell housing. So I know it's like an LS1, LS2. So when I look on Amazon, I read some review, and some guy said like, "Oh, this starter fit on my C6 perfectly." Well, I figured a C6 is an LS2, so yeah. So and this bell housing is made for an LS2. So then I was like, wrong. Then I did some more research. Then this specifically say LS1, LS2 TTO, or LS1 on the Camaro. Then, because I guess the LS2 on the TTO bell housing versus a Corvette are different. Because this thing wouldn't fit on it for shit. So I end up going online, figuring out what this part number belonged to, because they will not tell you what car it made for. They just have a part number, So I was able to. So I looked up a Pontiac TTO 04 to 06, because they say so. This bell housing is for an LS1, LS2 TTO, and I was looking at the 04. LS1 starter. Then it came up, the part for that thing is basically is either one would work, but the problem that I learned from like GM LS starter is the early model, they only have one ear, which meant like this side use a long bolt, and this side doesn't have this bottom bracket. It only have this upper one, so it's a shorter bolt. So one side have a long bolt go to the block, and this side have a shorter bolt go to the block. You find that in an early 04 TTO or a first gen like the first LS Camaro, they have that. And so a lot of people having problem is over time, the starter broke this ear off. Then they end up breaking piece of the block off. So that is a nightmare for a lot of people. So, and I noticed that like they also say an LS2 would work. So I look at for an LS2 TTO, which is an 05, 06. and this starter is an 05 06 TTO starter. They look freaking identical down to everything. So this starter came up as part number 921696668, and it's actually for an 05 06 TTO. I just test fitted. The sucker fit right in, but I was curious to see what the hell going on here, because these two are exactly from every corner. Nothing is different as the eye can see. So why the fuck one go in and the other one doesn't go in? Like, I was so confused, because like from the eye can see, these things are identical. The only thing that's different you can really see is this one. This little fat piece sit a little further back versus than this piece. But I mean, the bracket hole are the same. I measured this outer ring here are the same size down to everything. Then I measure these things. Like here to here, edge to edge is the same, but I quickly noticed that the difference between these two are this spot right here. This thing overall is a little bit shorter than this one. So you can tell this one is slightly longer, not much. I mean, like a millimeter, 2 millimeter at the most. Longer. So for this guy being a little shorter, this area right here is fatter. This area right here, you can see, is came down to a more pointy, so it's a little thinner. So what happened was, when I put this in, this area right here is fat, so it hit the bell housing, so that's why it wasn't clearing. And so, and this guy is thinner. See, he's smaller, a little bit smaller than this guy. So this area was able to clear the bell housing, so it is able to fit. And I didn't want to run the one that have one ear, so I bought. I make sure this came up of a 05 06 TTO, and the way to do that is go to one of the GM website, like gmpark.com or gmgenuinepark.com. Once you go in there, you look up for a part for a specific car. They will pop up exact number. They will tell you that part will fit or not. So I was doing research, and this number come up for the 05 06. So if you are running a TTO, LS1, LS2, LS1 Camaro, bell housing, you need this starter. And I was so curious to what the hell did I bought here, because I have no clue what car this came in with. All I know is it fit an LS2. So I went to one of the same website. I looked up for the 05 06 TTO part, one of those GM's website. I looked up this number. This thing belong for on a 2012-2015 Camaro. So I think it's belong for an LS3. Yeah, so this is a LS3 starter. Nothing has really changed much. I think like they just changing the tip of this thing, really, and all the starter. But So yeah, then so I kept it. I didn't return it yet because I want to do a comparison. I want to know like what the hell going on, why um, this one don't fit and that one fit. And if you are looking for a starter online for a custom build like me, you're gonna have a hella hard time because there are literally like 20 different starter because there are so many um, version of the LS engine that go into so many different car. But for the record, go the starter you should go with is with the bell housing that you going with. The bell housing the block is all the same. The LS engine, the block is all the same. Externally wise, they are the same. The bell housing for different car, different generation, they are different. So make sure if you get a Corvette bell housing, you need to get a Corvette starter. If you're running like me, a GTO bell housing, you need a GTO starter. I hope that helps somebody out there because everything is a learning curve for me. This got me messed up for a couple nights as well. But finally, I'm just glad I found the right starter. This little sucker can go back to Amazon tomorrow. So that's an update. Hopefully everything I said help out some of y'all out there that are doing this thing like me. Everything I'm doing here is I'm familiar with, but I mean like it's a different car. So a lot of part is new to me, so it's always a learning curve when you work on a different platform. This is my first American muscle built, so yeah, definitely a learning curve. So hopefully the next video you see, the Z gonna be in here. I'm gonna set this thing aside, cleaning everything up, clearing all this junk off, and bring the Z in here.